He's been crafting boots for decades, each pair echoing the evolution of time itself. This week, we are in existence with Paul Kaufman, a designer shaped by the architecture around him, and always a step ahead. What he creates isn't just footwear, it's history, stitched in leather and soul. What made you want to design heels for men?
Well, to me, I don't see a big differentiation. I
think society stamps it as this is for men, this is for women. Absolutely. But from your perspective, like, it's just shoes.
Yeah, 99% of the time they're just shoes. Some heels are more pragmatic to walk in. I'm a big believer in making heels that are more empowering than making you less.
I do feel that.
Empowered.
I feel like when I put on these boots, do you want to catch it? When I put on these boots, I feel like I'm in a whole other level.
Right.
I feel empowered, and I think that if you can create shoes that can make people feel like that,
yeah, that's definitely what I want to do. Like, those work because the heel itself is a fatter heel. If those were stilettos, I know a lot of people think a tall stiletto makes them, powerful, but to me, I don't really see that, because I see somebody wobbling around. They can't, because the stiletto is not stable.
And I feel like yes, the boots may have heel, like the
tall heel like this. This is almost a 4-inch heel.
Uh-huh.
But if you look at how fat it is here, it's pretty solid when you walk. It's not perfect. It's not the same as this heel would be. You see the difference in how big this is. This is solid.
Here's what even though I said that this have heels and you've mentioned stilettos, I see them as boots. I don't see them as high heels. Like, I don't see your shoes as high heels. I see them as boots. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that this definite, yes, it's high heel, but it's boots.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that when people can't differentiate the difference, that's when ignorance comes through.
Well, and fear.
Yes, and fear, yes. So how did you feel when you first put on the pair of boots or shoes that you've designed?
Well, it's
it's
awesome to wear a pair.
Right.
I have one of my hashtags is I only wear PS Kaufman, and that is,
I do think that
lives for me. I only wear my own shoes.
I do think that before anybody can be your fan, you have to be the fan of your own personal work.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And go ahead.
Well, no, but I grew up in the Midwest, and very, I won't say traditional, but people are very down to earth, and so, like, there's a lot of people who become successful just because they can brag about themselves, right? They're good at selling themselves. I was never that person. I wanted
to earn it.
Well, I wanted people to look at that and go, geez, look at that. Who did that? That's amazing. And then on top of that, obviously the shoes, they look nice. Nobody's going to buy them if they're ugly, but, I wanted them to function, to be, again, give value to people by the fact that they look amazing, they function well, they make you feel good because, your back's not hurting, your feet aren't hurting, all those things.
This is your office. So, like, how do you...
This is sort of like my work desk.
Uh-huh.
So what I do now, I do a lot of customization.
Uh-huh.
And so that's where I'm doing it, like dyeing and painting and such. Just dressing some shoes for the look of it. I work with a guy who does who has all the machinery to do some of the resoling and things like that we need to do for some customers, or customizations that we need to do.
So you design them?
I design. Yeah. I'll show you. For example, I designed this outsole during the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
I designed this boot in 1987.
This particular boot?
This style.
Okay.
This style.
Was it, did you now recreated it for an individual, or?
Well, basically what happened is, so in 1987, I was in a Kaufman.
Okay.
And
You should have started there.
Sorry.
That's the story right there. Go on, tell me.
Well, actually, it was 1980.
Okay.
But at that point, it was after we started bringing docs to the U.S. So our business was growing. I was in a cowpunk band. We couldn't get black Western boots, like all black Western boots, or, kind of like just things that fit the vibe of the band. And so I had a shoe company, and I was like,
oh, so you already had a shoe company?
Yeah, because we started in 1980.
Right.
So
I see.
We weren't huge or anything. We were trying to get docs established in the U.S. And, by that point, I'd been in my first shoe factory. And so I was like just enamored of shoemaking and the process. And I just wanted to learn everything about it. And my personal character is just, I see something and I was like, oh, what if we could do this? Or what if we could do that?
How has your evolution been? Like, when you first designed your shoes, what did they look like? Did they had heels on it? Was it flat shoes? Was it?
Well, I really, like I said, I started with docs, and so docs are typically a very flat sole. It's really from the work market. So I also was really inspired by things that were functional and work related. So, docs were really that, I owned work boots as well, so it was like a lower heel sort of thing. But as I started just, opening up my mind to shoes and what shoes could be, I'm inspired by so many different genres and eras. I love the 70s, so there were platforms in the 70s. But, men have been wearing platforms and heels since Louis XIV.
I remember we spoke about this because there's this stigma that man can't wear heels. Right. And I remember you told me the history of how it began. Do you mind telling? So what's the reason? How did men begin? Let me get my question right. How were heels made for men?
Well, I think while there's not an exact history, and my memory of it is a little hazy of the specifics of it. I've studied it. A good portion of heels came out of the need to be out of the mud and out of dirt, because things were, we didn't have concrete sidewalks way back in the day.
Okay.
And so that's part of it. Women were the first really to start with very accentuated platforms because, again, the height was like a thing of stature. Royalty wanted to be taller. In the case of someone like King Louis, who really affected a lot of.
Was he like he? I'm not sure if he was
the French king, like in the 1600s.
Right.
I think the 14th. My dates could be a little bit off here, but he was actually the guy who said all the royals are going to have red heels, and he was a very short guy, so having the heels made him taller, more stature, and so I think that
was he like the first man that. I'm going to move over to this. Was he like the first man that created that wore, heels at the time? Was he?
I'm not sure if he was the first person to do it because there were also earlier than that there were clogs.
When did you realize you wanted to break the mold with fashion when it came down to shoes?
I would say a lot of it had to do with.
I'm just going to place this.
A lot of it has to do with personal style.
Okay.
More than anything else. And so,
how would you define your own personal style?
Eclectic, I would say, but also expressive. Expressive of who I am. And I think that's really what has inspired me to sort of not confine myself to any mold as far as it, I mean, I love stuff that's made well. Mm-hmm. So that's always been a part of what inspires me here. I love stuff that makes a statement. Doesn't have to be a crazy over the top statement, because even subtle statements, I think sometimes are even more insidious and subversive, because people don't realize that, you're making this statement and it becomes more familiar to them more quickly. And suddenly they're like, oh, actually, that was kind of a cool idea. Maybe, they see it more often and it becomes more familiar.
How much of yourself, and I know you probably pour a lot into your designs, but like, how much do you put in each designs that you design for a particular person, in the percentage or in comparison with how much they put the effort into describing what they really are looking for?
Well, I mean, more often than not, I wouldn't say that I'm only designing for myself, but I start there and just think of something that moves me, that inspires me when I'm creating.
How do you get that movement? How do you get that feeling, that inspiration?
I have a lot of different, I mean, I do, even though I'm not an architect, I do love architecture. So buildings, details in buildings inspire me. Colors inspire me. Nature inspires me. I mean, everything inspires me. So sometimes it's.
So you grab like elements from your surroundings and you apply them onto shoes?
Yeah. Very much. And then.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah. Like, that really is. Like, that's wow.
So it a lot of it is also just time dependent. Like, what's the time?
Why shoes? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you can grab elements from different, your surroundings, why only shoes?
Well, I don't only do shoes, but shoes primarily.
Okay.
Because I think the amazing thing about shoes, which are completely underappreciated, by most people, not everybody, but shoes combine everything. There's art, and within art, there's sculpture, there's, design, there's printmaking, there's, color theory, there's architecture in shoes, there's chemistry and physics, biomechanics in shoes. So you're able to combine all these things, which I happen to be very fond of, into one product, and it doesn't take 5 years to realize like a building would. These are typically about a year from like coming out of here to going onto paper, to being sent to the factory, to getting a prototype made, to correcting the prototypes, to then having someone fit test them to make sure that they work, then figuring out how, like, can we afford to buy them, or how do we sell them so we can.
Because I always think with my outfit, it's fully black, right? But it wouldn't look as dynamic if I wasn't wearing these boots. And I feel like these boots make the outfit.
Shoes make every outfit.
Has fashion ever healed anything in you?
Has it ever
healed
anything in me? I really stay away from the word fashion, because
why is that?
It implies temporality. It implies things that change quickly and that are fleeting.
So how would you how would you label or title?
It has to do with style.
Instead of fashion. What's the difference between style and fashion?
I think style is a long-term notion. Like the word trend starts to come into play when you talk about fashion. And I'm really against like the disposableness of today's culture. And I've always believed that, you do something well, it lasts a long time. That's how I was raised. And so that has stayed with me. And now you see shoes that, you can wear like 5 times.
I always feel like style is personal to one's individual.
Sure.
And fashion is what we see out there. It's what you can copy. but style is your own individual expression. That's how I identify
I mean, that's
it.
pretty. I would say that's pretty much true. Although not everybody has personal style, and so that's why.
But then, what is defined as style?
Well, I think that style would be a way, whatever is expression that one has of themselves, when it comes to not only clothing and shoes, but whatever the things that they own and what they choose to have in their life.
Right.
Again, I think that there's a financial incentive for a lot of large companies to push products onto us that aren't needed, right? And it's just simply for money. Yeah, and so it's.
And there's not. It feels as if there isn't a heart to it. Like when I look at your shoes, I see heart. I see time. I see vision. I see inspiration. I see detail. Do you know what I mean? And I think that these are products that should be invested on, if anything. And I think that.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think that what we see currently being advertised is items to make money and not necessarily items from the heart.
For sure. And they're also, I think, again, they don't necessarily serve anything. So I don't want to get too far off the subject, but I believe a lot in service, and so I think that my products serve a need. But
it does
in a very stylish way.
It serves expression.
Expression, but also physiologically, a good pair of shoes will make you stand up better. It's better for your body. It's better for how you walk.
I agree with that.
All those things. And
I certainly agree with that.
So
these I asked you before. Who made these?
It's a painter. His name is Rashid Muhammadi.
Do you sell them here?
Hopefully.
So you have them
every month we change. So it's connected to an event called DTLA Art Night. And it's the first Thursday of every month. Well, so this is a shoe I designed in 1998 for an Italian brand called Fornerina.
You designed this in
1998.
1998.
Yeah. And really, at that time, Fornerina was a very powerful brand globally. In the junior market, younger women, not only younger women, but they really have grew up with like the whole Spice Girl explosion, with making sneakers that were platforms. I love Spice Girls.
Yeah.
So the idea was to make some things that had some dressy element to it, but I wanted to still have a reference back to the materials that they use for their sneakers. So this material is polyurethane. It's the same thing that Nike used when they first made sneakers for their outsoles because it's a cushy. So this is quite comfy.
This looks like the 80s.
Yeah. Well,
do you know what I mean? Or 90s.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No.
This looks like the 90s. And the shoes at the front, they look like this period. So it's almost as if you've created for every moment.
It's hard to completely, ignore what's going on. The strapline for my brand is Timeless Classics. Sorry, scratch that. Twisted Classics. So in other words, taking shoes that have a classic feel, but that have elements of them that are different. And so, because I like it when somebody can look at my shoes and go, I don't know when that's from. It could have been from any time, because someone could continue to wear it because they last for so long.
These are the boots you designed. Can you imagine?
Just these ones, yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, these are the boots that Paul has designed. Can you imagine? This is incredible.
You were asking me earlier how many things I've created.
Right. I can't imagine it. From
that that room is full of samples of stuff I've designed. There's probably at least a couple thousand.
And we spoke about this, and these are things that would still today be sold.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I think you're sitting. I think you're sitting on top of treasure.
Yeah,
Your own treasure.
Well, I have books and books and books of shoes I've designed. I mean, they haven't all come to pass. They haven't been made. A lot of times, there's a project where someone's hired me because they want to do something, and then I design a bunch of stuff, and it never gets made because for whatever reason, or perhaps I don't see that it was ever made, but they went and made it or made a version of it without me knowing.
Like, how do you feel when you see someone wearing your boots that you've designed? Like, this can go from famous people to just, common people to...
So I designed this for Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
Sorry about scratching my nose.
No. Carry on. We can cut into B-roll.
Yeah, so, I mean, see, just like, it's an amazing feeling, obviously, to see something that you created from here to be on stage or to be, in a magazine or something like that. But probably the most long-lasting effect is like someone actually, like seeing it on the street, just like randomly.
Do you think they know where the boots come from, or do you think they know where they designed them? Do you feel better when they don't approach you, but they're wearing it, or do you feel like good when they know, who designed it and who built it?
Well, obviously, I would like people to know that I designed it. I've done a lot of the work I've done throughout my career has been kind of unnoticed. I mean, one of the reasons why, like the original brand with the Doc Martens and such, I won't go into the gory details, but when that eventually folded, after about 20 years, I didn't design shoes for myself for a while for my own brand, and when I started again, I wanted to be more me and not necessarily someone else's concept. So that's why my current brand's name is my name. So
which is
P.S. Kaufman.
P.S. Kaufman.
Yeah. And, oh my God.
I didn't know I'm actually a huge fan of shoes.
Yeah.
I really am. And I think this is something new that just began with me. I'm a really big fan of shoes, and I love your work. I absolutely love your work.
To show you, that boot starts as this boot.
Started as that?
Yeah, so it starts...
what was the evolution? How did it evolve?
I dye it to make it this color. So I've done a lot of that for...
So you could have dyed this and still kept to the same heel size, but you didn't.
I haven't... Well, this is a bigger size. That's the only reason the heel's higher.
Right, I see.
So the smaller... Like I make the heels bigger as the size gets bigger, so the proportion looks the same. Like some people won't change the height of the heel.
Right.
And so as the shoe gets bigger, the heel stays low. And to me, the look is out of whack. Whereas
I love that.
If it's higher, it stays.
I love that explanation.
Yeah. That started as this. So then just playing around, I just wanted to try different techniques. I'm always trying to experiment and see how I can make what I own something else too,
How many hours do you think you've put in creating these, and how many hours do you think it takes for you, to come out with a product or like a shoe or the idea of it?
Hundreds. I mean, like I said, sometimes the inspiration for an idea, like the drawing itself, can be very quick. And it really also depends too. Like if I'm doing something for someone else that is going to then take that idea and then take it to a factory for them to interpret without me being there to explain it, then I'm going to do like a more, a little bit more of a detailed drawing. I might draw it on the computer as compared to the sketch by hand. With the factory that makes most of my shoes, I'm just I rarely do computer sketching because
Do you design them personally, or
yeah, but I'm doing drawings.
if your shoes could speak, what do you think they would say?
Cursing me.
Why is that?
No, I'm joking. If they could speak, what would they say? Well, I hope they would be thanking me for bringing them to life.
Into existence?
Yeah,
Into
exactly.
existence?
Yes.
I love that. Where do you plan to go with this overall, with this world that you've created?
Well, honestly, I don't have like plans for world domination or anything like that.
You don't have to.
I would love to just continue to be able to, make interesting shoes, that people are proud of to wear, people are proud of to be seen in,
Right.
that make a difference in the world. I mentioned a little bit about service. I feel like as a designer, the responsibility to put something. You're saying, here's my product, and you're standing behind it, and if it's a piece of shit,
But it's not just a product though. It's you. It's what you represent.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? It's your mind, it's your spirit, your soul that goes into it.
Well,
it's not just an object.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And these are very live because they change over time.
Right.
And they become the wearer's foot, actually, which is a pretty fascinating concept. My goal is to change the world slightly through my footwear.
I think you are.
That's really what I want to do.
I really think you are.
Just to rethink
It's genuinely so unique. Yeah. And I've said that plenty of times. It's, yeah.